I was sitting at my desk in the medical bay reading through the galactic species database on my datapad because the morning had been slow and I was bored. Well, slow. After the first two incidents. The entry for humans glowed on the screen in front of me, and I'd pulled it up mostly to see what other species thought we looked like. The description was pretty standard. Bipedal mammalian, average height, opposable thumbs, standard sensory organs. But then I got to the section on natural defenses and weapons. Humans lack natural weapons, the entry stated in clear text. No claws, venom, armor plating, enhanced strength, or other biological defense mechanisms. Considered one of the least naturally armed sapient species in known space. I stared at that line for a solid 10 seconds. I'm Fletcher, and I've been the station medic on Convergence Station for 8 months, and I'd already treated 2 bite wound victims this morning. 2 separate aliens who'd been bitten by humans. Bitten with teeth, the things currently in my mouth. The medical bay doors slid open with a hiss. An amphibian alien stumbled in clutching their shoulder. They were about 4 feet tall with moist greenish-blue skin that glistened under the overhead lights, and large bulbous eyes that blinked sideways with translucent membranes. Purple blood was seeping between the webbed fingers pressed against an obvious wound on their upper arm. They made a sound like a distressed frog gargling water. I looked at the alien. I looked down at my datapad where humans lack natural weapons was still displayed in helpful bold text. I looked back at the alien who was now bleeding purple onto my clean medical bay floor. I set the datapad down on my desk without finishing the article. Let me guess, I said while standing up and grabbing the tissue regenerator from the counter. A human bit you! The amphibian made more gargling sounds, and their skin flashed from greenish blue to deep purple. Right, I said. Sit on the examination table. The alien hopped over to the table with wet-slapping footsteps and climbed up with both arms while still pressing the wound. Up close, I could see it was definitely teeth marks. Human teeth marks. The third set I'd seen today, and it wasn't even lunch cycle yet. I ran the tissue regenerator over the wound and watched the flesh start knitting back together. The amphibian's skin gradually shifted from purple back to greenish blue, which I assumed meant they were calming down. Where did this happen? I asked. Lup. The alien's translator kicked in finally. Central Promenade, they said in a voice that bubbled. I was purchasing fruit. A human reached for the same fruit. We both grabbed it. They bit my arm. They bit your arm over fruit, I said. I did not release the fruit fast enough, the amphibian said. Their eyes blinked in opposite directions. I finished sealing the wound. You can go. Maybe avoid the fruit vendors for a while. The amphibian flashed through several colors rapidly, hopped off the table, and bolted for the door with their webbed feet making squeaking sounds on the floor. I walked back to my desk and looked at the datapad. Humans lack natural weapons still glowed on the screen. I picked it up and scrolled down to see if there was any mention of teeth. There wasn't. The entry just said humans use tool-based weapons and had developed advanced technology to compensate for their lack of natural armaments. The medical bay doors opened again, and Orith walked in with her own datapad clutched in both arms against her downy chest. Orith was the medical administrator, which meant she handled paperwork while I handled the actual bleeding aliens. She was avian species with plumage that shifted between coral and peach tones and a crest of silky feathers that swept back from her head in an elegant sweep. Her tail feathers trailed behind her nearly to the floor and caught the light with a faint bioluminescent shimmer. Her crest was standing straight up, which I'd learned meant she was agitated. Fletcher, she said, and her small obsidian beak clicked twice. This is the 3rd incident report today. I know, I said. I just treated them. 3 humans have bitten 3 different species in the past 6 hours, Orith continued. Her golden eyes reflected the medical bay lights as she stared at me. 3 separate violent attacks using natural weapons. I held up my datapad and turned it so she could see the screen. The database says humans lack natural weapons. Orith's crest flattened, then shot back up even higher. Then the database is wrong because 3 aliens have been injured by human teeth today. The database was written by the Galactic Council, I said. Are you saying the Galactic Council is wrong? I'm saying humans have teeth, Fletcher, Orith said. Her feathers puffed out slightly. Teeth that bite. Teeth that cause wounds. That makes them weapons. Teeth are for eating. I said, and set my datapad back down on the desk. Humans are omnivorous predators, Orith said while typing on her own datapad with quick movements of both arms. Your species consumes both plant and animal matter, which requires specialized cutting implements in the mouth. We call it chewing, I said. Through the transparent wall of the medical bay, I could see the central promenade where dozens of different aliens walked past. A reptilian species with iridescent blue scales carried packages. An insectoid with compound eyes and clicking mandibles examined a vendor stall. A crystalline alien with faceted skin refracted the colored ambient lighting into rainbow patterns. The medical bay doors opened a third time, and Mycora walked in with her security datapad. Mycora was the station security chief, and also the most stressed person I'd ever met if the color of her shoulder mushrooms was any indication. She was fungal species, about a head shorter than me, with a stocky build covered entirely in velvety moss-like coating in various shades of green and brown. Small shelf mushrooms grew from her shoulders and along her spine, and right now they were bright yellow, which meant she was on alert. Thin spore tendrils hung from her head like hair and swayed slightly as she moved, even though there was no breeze in the medical bay. Her large mahogany eyes without any visible pupils fixed on me, and it always felt like she was staring into my soul. Third bite victim just left the medical bay, Mycora said. Her voice had a soft quality like she was speaking through cotton. I need to file a security report. Orith is already filing a report, I said, and gestured at Orith, who was still typing rapidly. I need to file a security report, Mycora repeated. 3 violent incidents in 6 hours constitutes a pattern. I picked up my datapad again and pulled up the human entry. According to the official galactic species database, humans lack natural weapons. So, these can't be weapon attacks. Mycora's shoulder mushrooms shifted from yellow to orange. A small puff of spores released from her head tendrils and smelled faintly like old books. Humans have teeth. For eating, I said. 3 aliens would disagree, Mycora said. Her velvety coating seemed to darken slightly. Orith's beak clicked 3 times rapidly. I've been researching human dental structure. Humans have 32 teeth designed for tearing and grinding organic matter. That's food, I said. We're designed for eating food. You're designed for consuming flesh, Orith said, her tail feathers fanned out behind her. That requires weapons. A merchant alien with 6 tentacles was setting up a stall across the promenade. They kept glancing toward the medical bay, while arranging colorful fruits with multiple limbs. The database says we lack natural weapons, I said again and held up the datapad. See? Right here. Humans lack natural weapons. It's official. Mycora walked over and took the datapad from my hand with both arms. She read the entry while her mushrooms pulsed orange. This entry is clearly outdated or incorrect. It was updated 3 months ago, I said. I can see the timestamp. Then whoever updated it didn't know about human teeth, Mycora said and handed the datapad back. Everyone knows about teeth, I said. Most species have teeth. Most species don't have teeth that can puncture flesh, Orith said while typing. Most species have grinding plates or filtering mechanisms or absorption membranes. I looked out at the promenade again. A floating jellyfish alien drifted past, pulsing with purple light. An aquatic species in a water suit walked by with gills fluttering. A small, furry mammalian creature scurried along close to the wall. What about that reptilian species? I said, and pointed at a green-scaled alien examining a vendor stall. They have teeth. For display and temperature regulation, Mycora said. Not for biting. What about insects with mandibles? I tried. For carrying and manipulating objects, Orith said. Not for combat. So, you're telling me humans are the only species that actually uses teeth for biting, I said. For weaponized biting, yes, Mycora said. Her mushrooms were solid orange now and slightly larger than before. I rubbed my face with both hands. They're not weaponized. They're just teeth. Sometimes accidents happen. Describe the accidents, Mycora said while pulling out her own datapad to take notes. I tried to remember what the first 2 victims had told me. The first one was a crystalline species. They said they were playing shockball with a human and got bitten during a collision. Sport-related violence, Mycora said while typing. Not violence, I said. Accident. The second incident, Orith prompted. Tentacled species at a food vendor, I said. Something about a sandwich. Resource conflict, Mycora said and typed more. Disputed sandwich ownership, I corrected. And the third was fruit-related aggression, Orith said. It wasn't aggression, I said. The human just wanted the fruit. And deployed their teeth to acquire it, Mycora said. Her coating had darkened to a deep brown-green. A group of 3 aliens walked past the medical bay together. One reptilian with yellow scales, one insectoid with twitching antennae, one avian with bright blue plumage. They were laughing about something and gesturing with their arms while telling stories. Look, I said, and pointed at my datapad, still showing the human entry. The official galactic database says humans lack natural weapons. 3-byte incidents doesn't change biological fact. 3-byte incidents in 6 hours suggests the database needs updating, Orith said. Her crest was vibrating slightly. Or suggests humans have been concealing their natural weapons, Mycora added. Small puffs of spores released from her tendrils. We're not concealing anything, I said. Teeth are right there in our mouths, visible, not concealed. Most species assumed they were decorative or vestigial, Orith said, like ornamental display features. Decorative teeth, I repeated slowly. Many species have non-functional biological features, Orith said. We assumed human teeth were similar. They are functional, I said, for eating. And biting, Mycora said. Accidentally biting, I corrected. Mycora's communicator chirped. She answered it with one hand, while the other held her datapad. Security Chief Mycora, she said. She listened for a moment. Her mushrooms flashed from orange to a darker orange-red. More spores puffed from her head tendrils. Understood, she said. I'm in the medical bay now. Yes. 3 incidents confirmed. I'll file the report immediately. Ah. She ended the call and looked at me with her unblinking mahogany eyes. Station Command wants a briefing on the human teeth situation. There is no situation, I said. 3 incidents is a pattern, Mycora said. Patterns require investigation and response protocols. Orith's feathers had reached maximum puff, making her look twice her normal size. I'll need to file updated medical documentation, incident analysis, pattern assessment, threat evaluation. Threat evaluation, I said, for teeth. For concealed biological weapons that have been deployed 3 times in 6 hours, Orith corrected. Her beak clicked rapidly. An insectoid alien walked past the medical bay, glanced in at us through the transparent wall, and immediately changed direction to walk the other way. Their antennae were pressed flat against their head. People are going to panic, I said. You're making this into a bigger deal than it is. 3 species have been injured, Fletcher, Mycora said. Her voice was still soft but had an edge now. Station security protocols require assessment and response. The protocol should be tell humans to be more careful, I said, not declare teeth as weapons. Are you saying you can control when you deploy your teeth? Orith asked. I'm saying I can control when I bite things, I said. Yes. Can all humans control it? Mycora asked. I assume so, I said. We're not going around biting people randomly. 3 incidents in 6 hours, Orith said. 3 accidents in 6 hours, I corrected again. Mycora's communicator chirped a second time. She answered and listened while her mushrooms pulsed through various shades of orange and red. Her velvety coating was now almost entirely dark brown. Another incident, she said after ending the call. Maintenance sector, human worker, and a reptilian engineer. What happened? I asked, even though I already knew. The human bit them, Mycora said. The medical bay doors slid open harder than usual, and a reptilian alien staggered in, clutching their arm. They had orange and yellow scales, and a long snout and blood was dripping between their fingers where they pressed against an obvious wound. Behind them in the doorway stood another human, a maintenance worker I vaguely recognized named Wesley, looking extremely uncomfortable. I didn't mean to, Wesley said immediately. The circuit panel exploded, and I just reacted. Mycora's shoulder mushrooms flashed from orange-red to bright crimson-red. A cloud of spores erupted from her head tendrils, filling the immediate area with the smell of old books and panic. Her whole velvety coating shifted to dark brown that was almost black. Orith's crest shot straight up perpendicular to her head, and all her feathers puffed out at once. She looked like an alarmed, sunset-colored ball. Her tail feathers spread into a full fan behind her and started shimmering with bioluminescent panic glow. Fourth victim, Mycora said, and her voice had gone very quiet. 4 human bite attacks in 6 hours. It wasn't an attack, Wesley said. I was being electrocuted and bit down reflexively. I grabbed the tissue regenerator and walked over to the reptilian alien. Sit, I told them. They sat immediately on the examination table, still clutching their arm. Their tongue flicked out nervously, and their scales were shifting through stress colors. The database, I said while examining the bite wound, still says humans lack natural weapons. The database is wrong, Mycora Orith, and Wesley said at the same time. The bite was deep. Wesley must have really clamped down during the electrical shock. I started running the regenerator over it, while the reptilian alien made hissing sounds. A crowd was gathering outside the medical bay. I could see at least a dozen different aliens pressing close to the transparent wall trying to see inside. A crystalline being with blue facets. An aquatic species in a water suit with rapidly fluttering gills. A mammalian alien with thick fur backing away slowly while maintaining eye contact. Mycora was already on her communicator again. This is Security Chief Mycora to Station Command. We have a 4th human weapon deployment in 6 hours. Requesting immediate protocol implementation. It's not a weapon deployment, Wesley said desperately. I was being electrocuted. It was a reflex. A pain response. Not an attack. Involuntary weapons deployment during pain stimulus, Mycora said while typing with her other hand. Her mushrooms were full crimson and had grown noticeably larger. Spores were releasing in steady, continuous puffs. Orith was typing so fast both arms were blurring. 4 incidents. 4 different humans. 4 different situations. The pattern is escalating. There's no pattern, I said while finishing with the reptilian's wound. These are unrelated accidents. The reptilian alien bolted from the examination table as soon as I stepped back. They ran for the door and nearly collided with Wesley, who jumped out of the way and bumped into a medical cart. The cart rolled across the floor and crashed into the wall with a loud metallic clang. Instruments scattered everywhere. The crowd outside was growing. I counted at least 20 different species now. Someone had a recording device pointed at us. An insectoid's mandibles were clicking so rapidly, it sounded like a machine gun. A gaseous alien's containment suit was fogging up completely. Mycora's communicator chirped again. She answered, and her mushrooms somehow managed to turn an even darker shade of crimson. Yes, Commander. Understood. Implementing immediately. She looked at me and Wesley. Her mahogany eyes reflected the harsh medical bay lights. Station Command is placing the medical bay under temporary lockdown. No humans are to leave until teeth registration is complete. Teeth registration, I said. You're locking us in, Wesley said. For station safety, Mycora said. A massive spore cloud erupted from her head tendrils, filling half the medical bay. Station Command needs to assess the threat level of human teeth before allowing humans to move freely. We've been moving freely for 8 months, I said. 3 bite accidents doesn't change that. 4 bite attacks, Mycora corrected, and it changes everything. Orith's entire plumage was shimmering with bioluminescent glow now. The medical bay looked like someone had detonated a sunset. Station newsfeed just picked up the story, she said while reading her datapad. It's calling it the human teeth crisis. The what? Wesley and I said together. Social feeds are reporting that humans have concealed bone weapons in their mouths, Orith read. Her beak was clicking constantly. There's a safety alert going out to all residents. Avoid humans. Report any threatening mouth movements. I looked at my datapad sitting on the desk where I'd set it down. The screen had gone dark, but I knew what it said. Humans lack natural weapons in clear official text approved by the Galactic Council 3 months ago. This is insane, I said. A klaxon started blaring somewhere in the station. Amber warning lights activated along the corridor outside. The crowd of aliens scattered immediately, most of them running away from the medical bay. Mycora sealed the medical bay doors with her security override. Station Command is sending a delegation to assess the human teeth threat in person. They want a full demonstration of weapons capabilities. Demonstration, I said slowly. You want me to bite something? For threat assessment purposes, yes, Mycora said. Her mushrooms were pulsing, now cycling between dark crimson and an even darker red I didn't know existed. Her coating had gone completely black-brown. Absolutely not, I said. Wesley raised one hand nervously. Maybe we should just explain that human teeth are normal and not actually weapons. 4 aliens have been injured by human teeth in 6 hours, Orith said. Her crest was vibrating so fast it was humming. That's beyond normal. 4 accidents, I said again. The alert klaxon changed pitch, getting somehow more urgent and louder. The amber lights shifted to red. A new alarm joined the first one, creating a discordant emergency symphony. My Cora's communicator chirped a third time. She answered and listened, while her mushrooms grew another full inch and shifted to a shade of red that looked almost purple. When she ended the call, her voice was barely a whisper. Station command just elevated to priority 1. They're implementing quarantine protocols for the human residential section. They're quarantining the humans, Wesley said weakly. Until the teeth situation is resolved, yes, my Cora said. More security personnel were taking up positions outside the medical bay. I could see them through the transparent wall. 3 different species, all armed, all watching us like we were dangerous. A reptilian kept their hand near their weapon. An insectoid had their antennae pointed directly at me. An avian with brown plumage kept their crest raised on maximum alert. Orith made a sound like a strangled bird. The council representative is coming personally. This has become a diplomatic incident. I walked back to my desk and picked up my datapad. I pulled up the human entry again. Humans lack natural weapons. Still glowed there in official text with the Galactic Council seal at the bottom. The database is wrong, my Cora said quietly. Spore clouds were releasing continuously from her head. The medical bay smelled overwhelmingly of old books and mushroom soup and panic. Or, I said, everyone is overreacting to 3 minor bite incidents. 4, everyone said at once. Through the transparent wall, I watched as even more officials arrived. Station command officers in formal uniforms. Security chiefs from other sectors. What looked like a council representative with elaborate robes and at least 6 arms and a floating crown of some kind. The delegation was here. My Cora's mushrooms flared bright crimson one final time and grew to the size of dinner plates. You have approximately 5 minutes to figure out how to explain why humans have weaponized teeth and why the official galactic database says you lack natural weapons. I looked at Wesley. Wesley looked at me. We both looked at the crowd of increasingly armed officials gathering outside. We're going to die in here, Wesley said. I looked down at my datapad. Humans lack natural weapons, mocked me from the screen. I had a feeling the next conversation was going to be very awkward. The delegation arrived in 7 minutes, not 5, which meant my Cora's time estimate was generous, or the officials had stopped to put on protective gear. The medical bay doors unsealed with a hiss and 6 officials walked in. The lead was a mantis-like insectoid with 4 black eyes and mandibles that clicked continuously. Behind them came 2 reptilians with recording devices, 1 avian with silver plumage and an official sash, 1 crystalline being that refracted the red alert lights into chaotic patterns, and 1 species made of semi-solid water in a reinforced containment suit. My Cora's mushrooms had somehow achieved an even darker shade of red and were now the size of serving platters. Her entire body was releasing continuous spore clouds. Orith's crest was vibrating so fast it was producing a high-pitched hum. Medic Fletcher, the mantis official said. Their translator gave them a clipped, formal tone. You will explain the discrepancy between official records and observed behavior. I held up my datapad showing the human entry. According to the Galactic Species Database, humans lack natural weapons. And yet 4 species have been injured by human teeth today, the mantis said. Their mandibles clicked 3 times rapidly. Bitten, I corrected. Not attacked. Bitten by accident during unrelated incidents. The crystalline official leaned forward and their voice sounded like glass chimes. 4 incidents in 6 hours is not accidental. It is a pattern. Wesley spoke up from where he'd been trying to hide behind the examination table. I was being electrocuted when I bit that guy. It was a reflex. Every official in the room turned to look at him. Reflex, the mantis said slowly. Humans deploy teeth weapons involuntarily during stress. No, Wesley said quickly. Not like weapons, just biting, like a reaction. The silver-plumed avian official's crest shot straight up. Involuntary weapons deployment during stress situations is a Category 5 security risk. Orith made a strangled chirping sound. Her feathers were producing so much bioluminescent panic glow that half the medical bay looked like it was on fire with sunset colors. Human teeth are not weapons, I said, and gestured at my datapad again. The official database entry clearly states humans lack natural weapons. This entry was reviewed and approved by the Galactic Council 3 months ago. The Mantis official pulled out their own datapad. Then the entry requires immediate correction. Humans possess 32 bone protrusions in their mouths, capable of puncturing flesh and causing injury. They're designed for eating food, I said, not attacking people. The distinction is irrelevant if the result is identical, the water-suited official said in a gurgling voice. Mycora stepped forward, and a massive spore cloud erupted from her head tendrils. I have incident reports from all 4 attacks. Wound analysis. Tissue damage assessment. Pattern evaluation. They weren't attacks, I said tiredly. The first was a shockball collision. The second was a sandwich dispute. The third was reaching for fruit at the same time. The fourth was during electrocution. The mantis's mandibles stopped clicking. They looked at the other officials, the crystalline being made a soft chiming sound. The water-suited official gurgled something thoughtful. You're saying, the mantis said slowly, that humans bit other beings during sport activity, resource competition, simultaneous object acquisition, and pain response. Yes, I said, accidents. Those are all high-stress scenarios, the silver avian official said, their feathers ruffled. Humans deploy teeth during stress. Humans sometimes bite things accidentally, I corrected. Like probably every species with a mouth does, occasionally. The mantis official consulted with the others in low voices. Their mandibles clicked occasionally. The crystalline being chimed in crystalline language. The water-suited official made gurgling observations. Orith had finally stopped typing. Her crest slowly lowered from maximum alert to just moderately alarmed. The medic may have a valid point. We've been classifying human teeth as concealed weapons when they may simply be unusually effective eating implements that occasionally cause accidental injury. The database says humans lack natural weapons, I said again, and held up the datapad like it was a holy text. Official Galactic Council approved documentation. The mantis official's mandibles clicked one final time. The council will require 3 actions. First, the database entry must be updated to include notation about human dental capabilities. Second, all humans must complete mandatory dental awareness training to prevent future incidents. Third, humans are placed on probationary status until compliance is verified. Probationary status, Wesley said weakly from behind the examination table. Teeth probation, I said flatly. You will learn proper teeth control, the mantis said. No further biting incidents will be tolerated regardless of cause. Mycora's mushrooms had faded from crimson to orange. Her spore emissions decreased noticeably. I'll implement the probationary monitoring and develop the training curriculum. Orith's crest returned almost to normal position. Her bioluminescent glow faded back to just a faint shimmer. I'll update the medical documentation and file the database correction request with proper incident citations. The delegation filed out looking significantly less panicked than when they'd entered. The mantis official paused at the door. The updated database entry will read, humans lack traditional natural weapons, but possess dental structures capable of causing injury. Approach with caution during high-stress scenarios. They left. The red alert lights downgraded to amber, then yellow. The klaxons stopped blaring. The crowd outside dispersed now that the excitement was over. Mycora unsealed the medical bay doors. Her coating had returned to normal green-brown coloration, and her mushrooms were shrinking back to reasonable size. Teeth awareness training begins next cycle. Attendance is mandatory for all humans. I'm adding it as Section 15 of Station Safety Protocols. Dental incident prevention, Orith added while typing. Her tail feathers had folded back to normal, elegant draping. I'll have the curriculum ready by morning. Wesley crawled out from behind the examination table. Can we leave now? You're both required to attend the inaugural training session, Mycora said, small puffs of spores released from her tendrils. In 1 hour. 1 hour, I said. The medical bay doors opened and a small mammalian alien walked in, clutching their hand nervously. Excuse me. I need medical attention. What happened? I asked, while grabbing my scanner. A human stepped on my foot in the promenade, and when I yelped, they turned around quickly and their elbow hit my hand, and I think a finger is broken. Orith's crest shot back up. Mycora's mushrooms flashed from brown to yellow. They both turned to stare at me. That's not a biting incident, I said quickly. Completely different, totally unrelated category. Human elbow deployment, Mycora said weakly. She sat down heavily in a chair and released a defeated puff of spores. Orith picked up her datapad again with both arms. Her beak clicked once. I'm adding an elbow safety module to the training curriculum. I treated the mammalian alien's broken finger while Wesley tried to quietly open the medical bay doors and escape. Mycora sealed them again without looking up. Training starts in 55 minutes, Mycora said. Both of you are attending. I looked at my datapad, still sitting on my desk. I picked it up and checked the human entry one more time. Humans lack natural weapons. Still glowed there for now. By tomorrow, it would say something about dangerous dental structures and caution during stress. We'd gone from least naturally armed species to teeth probation in one shift. Through the transparent wall I watched, station life returned to normal. Aliens walked past going about their business. Vendors reopened their stalls. The crisis had passed. We were officially on teeth probation, though, and I had a feeling the dental awareness course was going to be the longest hour of my life. At least update the database entry first, I said to Orith. So it's accurate. Orith's feathers ruffled. I'm filing the correction request now. New entry will read, humans lack traditional natural weapons such as claws or venom, but possess 32 dental structures capable of bite force sufficient to puncture most species' tissue. Exercise caution during physical contact, competitive scenarios, and high-stress situations. That makes us sound dangerous, Wesley said. You bit 4 people in 6 hours, Mycora said. Her mushrooms pulsed yellow. You are dangerous. I looked at my teeth in the reflection of a medical instrument. They looked completely normal to me. Just regular human teeth designed for eating food. Apparently, the rest of the galaxy disagreed. 50 minutes until training, Mycora said. I sat down at my desk and put my head in both hands. We were definitely going to be the laughingstock of the station.